More fallout for New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. 4 district attorneys are looking into the explosive report that found the governor sexually harassed 11 women. This as calls for him to step down increase among New York's most prominent political leaders who are calling on the governor to resign. Ranking House Democratic Congressman Hakeem Jeffries, Gregory Meeks, the chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, and New York Democratic mayoral candidate Eric Adams, as well as Carl Hastie, the Speaker of the State Assembly, and Assemblywoman Rodneyse Bichette-Harmon, the chair of Brooklyn's Democratic Party. Back with us to discuss this and break it all down, our justice correspondent, Candace Kelley. Good morning, Candace.
Good morning.
So we'll get right into it. The 3-term governor has denied any wrongdoing. What are DAs from each of these counties now saying?
Well, these DAs, these prosecutors, they're picking up where the attorney general left off. We've got 5 counties that are involved here, every place from Oswego to Westchester to Albany. And what we're talking about is specifically these DAs asking for information from the AG's office so they can make their case. One of the women, the first woman that actually filed a harassment suit by the name of Lindsay Boylan, she's actually filing a retaliation lawsuit in Manhattan. Then if you go over to Westchester, this is where we have the state trooper that said that the governor touched her inappropriately. If you go over to Oswego, then we have the governor allegedly putting his finger across the breast of a woman, spelling out the name of something that appeared on her shirt. So we have a number of DAs, we have a number of people that are asking for information so they can move on with their investigation.
Now, you mentioned that state trooper in Westchester. Her allegations are especially troublesome. Can you explain a little bit more why?
Yeah, this is especially troublesome because of the fact that while the governor was out in his daily routine, he basically picked this trooper from afar. According to the reports, he basically liked what he saw and wanted this woman in her presence. So he asked that she be assigned to his personal duty, his personal security. And when they told the governor that she didn't really have the qualifications in terms of she needed 3 years in order to serve his personal duty, they said, okay, she's got 2 years, but we're going to make an exception. And according to the AG's report, they said that this was an exception that was made just for her. And this was actually materialized in terms of an email saying that this was something done just for you. It kind of reminds me of R. Kelly a little bit. His trial starts on Monday, because he would also be at places where he would see people, handpick them, ask them to be in his presence, and they would circumvent anything in terms of what might be illegal in order to get that person in their presence. So that's what makes this especially troublesome. What's also making this especially interesting and troublesome is the fact that this state trooper was a surprise to many of us who knew about many of these allegations, but not until the report came out did we hear the details about this state trooper. And certainly state troopers are held in high regard. And in terms of whether or not they are telling the truth, I think people automatically believed her as opposed to perhaps someone in his office. So it was just a little more validation behind it that this state trooper was coming forth with her allegations.
And she probably thought, Candace, this was a great job opportunity, a career opportunity to serve someone in public service. So it's especially troubling and sad when you think about that email where, he basically, cut corners around this. Now, he says he won't resign, but Governor Cuomo has lost a flood of support since yesterday, including a number of unions.
Oh, yes. He's lost a number of people that amount to about 2 million people. And when we translate, that's really 2 million votes. We're talking about all types of workers' unions, the New York State United Teachers Union, the New York State AFL-CIO, the Transport Workers Union, and labor unions that just represent hotel workers and city workers. They all abandoned this third-term Democrat, even though he wants to serve another term. This probably is not possible in terms of losing all of this support. This is a flood of people that are not in his support or in his camp anymore, and he's really drowning in this flood of people who are not there for him.
Well, a lot of people are still saying that he could have another career after this, even if he is impeached, even if he does resign. Is it possible for him to have any future in the government or in an elected office at all after this type of accusations have come out against him?
That's a good question, because if he's impeached, if they go through the process, the Assembly and the Senate go through the process, then and if he's convicted, then he can't serve anymore. Unlike the president, when we had that impeachment, he could have served more in terms of serving public office. But if the governor in New York is impeached, he cannot serve office. So I think that's one of the things that even though he's saying, you know what, I need to run another term and I think that I can do it, he probably can. Number one, he doesn't have the support. Number two, if he goes through the impeachment process, he will not have the right. The other thing is that his supporters aren't people like Trump supporters. And this is why he was able to move through the process, having groped women, and still come out a victor in terms of the presidency. The base that Governor Andrew Cuomo has is not a base that are staunch supporters and cult-like like Trump. So that's the main difference. I think he doesn't like to be told what to do. And right now, people are telling him, you need to resign. He's going to resign on his own time, but it's not going to be now, because too many people are telling him to resign. And he's got too much pride involved in order to see that happens in a way that on someone else's terms and clock.
You know, and a lot of folks say, you know, you love New York so much. There's 19 million citizens in New York. Do it for them, right? So if you say you love New York so much, step down. Let us, make sure this isn't a distraction any longer, and just step down and resign. But clearly he's not willing to do that, as you mentioned, at this point. Now, an impeachment investigation into Governor Cuomo was opened in March, and there are actually 4 areas that the New York Assembly is looking into. Can you tell us where that stands?
Yeah, so we know of this sexual harassment issue, but we also talked yesterday about this whole book deal issue and this $5.1 million advance, and whether or not state workers were working during the time that they were working for him on government clock in order to make this book come into fruition. Then we have the scandal having to do with the undercounting of elderly people that might have died during COVID. And then finally, there's some structural issues and concerns over the Mario Cuomo Bridge. Ironically, that was a bridge named after his father. And on the table is whether or not Andrew Cuomo and his office knew early enough about these structural issues in order to do something about it. So yes, they are looking at a number of issues besides sexual harassment, and that's what the Assembly will do. They're going to look at all of the issues that are potentially impeachable offenses, put them on paper, and move them forward and see what sticks. And that's generally what happens in any process when you have any legal matter. You kind of just throw everything on the wall, and then you see what sticks. Another thing that the General Assembly will probably do is they will just insert the whole report and try to introduce the whole AG's report as the impeachment papers, and that's something that they can do. So a lot of people are talking about whether or not they're going to be drawing them up. Some people have said that these have already begun to be drawn up, but the truth is they can actually take the AG's report and confirm him that he is guilty, and they can just insert that and say that those are the impeachment papers they're going to use to base his impeachment upon.
And Candace, real quick, it seems like they're moving really fast with this impeachment process. How long is it expected to take?
It could take a few weeks, maybe just a month, because these are allegations in terms of the sexual harassment, in terms of the COVID undercounting, in terms of the big book deal that happened a few months ago. So people have already started this paperwork. So it could be a matter of just a couple or a few weeks until this comes into fruition. They have another meeting on Monday, and I am sure that, as you said, things will happen very quickly.
All right. Well, thanks for all the latest updates, Candace Kelley.